Queen Margrethe of Denmark, once hailed as one of the most beloved and stable monarchs in Europe, is now the focus of rising tension and growing concern within her nation and beyond. At a time when most believed she was enjoying a graceful, serene retirement following her abdication, a startling ripple has shaken the quiet waters of the Danish monarchy. A new statement released by the Danish Royal House has sparked concern not just within palace walls but across the entire kingdom, raising more questions than answers and prompting a wave of speculation that refuses to die down. Once seen as the unwavering anchor of the Danish monarchy, modern, diplomatic, and artistically brilliant, Queen Margrethe ruled Denmark with grace for over 5 decades. Her abdication in early 2024 in favor of her son, now King Frederik X, was unexpected but widely respected. The announcement, which took place on New Year's Eve, left millions stunned, but it was presented with dignity and purpose. Margrethe spoke from the heart, citing the passing of time and her health as contributing factors. It was a moment of reflection and deep national appreciation. The transition was smooth, elegant, and almost too perfect. But behind that calm exterior, something else seems to have been brewing, and now, Denmark is beginning to understand that not everything was as it seemed. The recent statement from the Royal House did not go into much detail, but what it did reveal was enough to send waves across royal watchers and concerned citizens alike. The official wording expressed that Queen Margrethe is currently under medical observation and will be limiting public appearances indefinitely. It was framed delicately, even respectfully. But this single announcement has opened the floodgates of speculation. What exactly is going on with Queen Margrethe? Why now? And how serious is her condition? Immediately following the Royal House's release, both domestic and international media began dissecting every possible angle. Health experts, royal correspondents, and body language analysts began reviewing her most recent public appearances. Was there a hint of fragility in her walk during her last outing? Was her smile slightly more subdued? Her last public speech, once praised for its warmth and clarity, is now being revisited with microscopic scrutiny. Every word, every pause, is being reanalyzed. Inside the walls of Amalienborg Palace, the mood is said to be more subdued than usual. Palace insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, have whispered that Queen Margrethe's condition may be more serious than the public has been led to believe. There's talk that her health has been declining since shortly after her back surgery in 2023, a procedure which, although deemed successful at the time, may have triggered complications that have quietly worsened over the past year. Those close to the Queen have reportedly noticed marked changes in her stamina and energy levels. Her once lengthy engagements had already been shortened during her final months on the throne. But now, insiders claim that even small appearances are taxing for her. The Danish people have not taken this news lightly. Queen Margrethe has been a fixture of stability since 1972. For most Danes, she is the only monarch they have ever known. Her absence from the public stage is deeply unsettling. Her unmatched wit, artistic flair, and thoughtful speeches brought her closer to the people than any monarch in recent Danish history. With her now stepping completely away from public life, and doing so under the cloud of medical concern, it's no surprise that the nation is uneasy. And what of her son, King Frederik X? The newly crowned monarch has not spoken directly about his mother's condition. However, his recent appearances have been notably more solemn. During recent engagements, both solo and with Queen Mary by his side, Frederik has seemed slightly distracted, even withdrawn at times. Observers have pointed to a visible weight on his shoulders, a mixture of the pressures of his new role and, perhaps, the emotional toll of watching his mother's health decline. Queen Mary, ever the composed consort, has continued to shine in her new role. Yet even she has appeared unusually reserved when attending events that would typically evoke her radiant public charm. Some sources suggest that Frederik and Mary are already planning to take on more of Margrethe's behind-the-scenes responsibilities, possibly much earlier than originally anticipated. Discussions about state events, royal tours, and major constitutional duties have quietly been amended to reflect the Queen's absence. This shift, while necessary, is also emotionally complicated. After all, Margrethe did not just abdicate her title, she passed on a legacy. And watching that legacy evolve without her active presence is an emotional transition not just for the royal family, but for the entire nation. Meanwhile, Queen Margrethe herself has remained entirely out of the spotlight. No photographs have emerged, no private statements, even her usually vibrant artistic endeavors have ceased. Those familiar with her routine have remarked that she's spending more time at Fredensborg Palace, surrounded by close family and longtime staff. The Queen, it appears, is quietly retreating from the world she once ruled with strength and grace. Outside the palace gates, the public continues to speculate. Social media is buzzing with hashtags like #Pray for Margrethe and #QueenStrong. Journalists have been stationed near her known residences, hoping for a glimpse or a quote. But the royal house remains silent, steadfast in their decision to respect the Queen's privacy during what may be her most vulnerable moment. Royal historians have pointed out that such a public concern about a royal figure's health hasn't occurred in Denmark in decades. Queen Margrethe, unlike many European royals, maintained a robust and consistent public presence well into her 80s. Even after surgery, she returned to her duties with visible determination. Her decision to abdicate was framed as one of prudence, not necessity. And yet, here we are, just a year later, with growing concern and minimal transparency. Adding to the mystery is the timing. This revelation comes on the heels of multiple major royal milestones: the 18th birthday of Princess Isabella, King Frederik's first solo tours abroad, and Queen Mary's increasing spotlight. Some insiders believe this timing is no coincidence. They suggest that the royal house may have intentionally delayed publicizing the Queen's health condition in order to allow those events to unfold uninterrupted. If true, this would reflect just how seriously Margrethe's condition has deteriorated, and how carefully the palace is managing public perception. The situation raises deeper questions about royal responsibility, legacy, and the emotional toll of monarchy. Queen Margrethe dedicated her entire adult life to serving Denmark. Even in stepping down, she made her decision with national interest in mind. But now, with her facing potential health complications away from the public eye, it's as if the nation has suddenly lost its compass. The quiet void she has left behind is louder than any royal fanfare. Despite the growing concern, the Danish people remain loyal to their queen. Candlelight vigils have already been spotted outside several royal residences. Letters, flowers, and drawings from children have poured in, echoing the collective plea for recovery, or at least, peace. It is this kind of heartfelt response that underscores Margrethe's lasting impact, a bond between queen and country that goes far beyond formal duty. Still, the lack of clarity from the royal house is creating unease. Public relations experts suggest that while privacy is important, so too is trust. By offering only vague statements, the palace may unintentionally be feeding a climate of fear and misinformation. Some royal watchers have even compared this moment to other royal health scares in Europe, particularly the way the British palace once handled Queen Elizabeth II's final months. Transparency, they argue, is essential to maintain public confidence. In truth, Denmark stands at a crossroads. The country is witnessing the end of an era in real time, and doing so with uncertainty rather than celebration. Queen Margrethe, once the embodiment of continuity and strength, is now a symbol of silent fragility. And the nation she loved so dearly is bracing for what may come next. Will she return to the public eye? Or has the curtain already quietly closed? And yet, even as the silence deepens around Queen Margrethe's condition, whispers continue to echo through the halls of power and the streets of Denmark. For many, this is not just about a former queen's health, it is about identity, national continuity, and an emotional connection that has spanned generations. The monarchy, though constitutional in form, has always represented something more than law and lineage in Denmark. With Queen Margrethe, it symbolized warmth, wisdom, and unwavering strength. Her absence, both physical and emotional, leaves a gap that no one seems ready to fill. While King Frederik X has proven himself capable and dutiful in his new role, the transition of power has inevitably intensified the nation's scrutiny. Every move he makes is now seen through a dual lens, that of a reigning monarch and that of a son possibly facing his mother's declining health in private. This emotional duality has become evident in recent appearances. Whether laying a wreath at a memorial site, opening a hospital, or meeting foreign dignitaries, Frederik's demeanor remains composed, but there are moments, fleeting and raw, when emotion flickers in his eyes. His words are carefully chosen, respectful, but often tinged with a quiet gravity. Queen Mary, too, has embraced her role as queen consort with elegance and strength, stepping into the spotlight with both grace and poise. Yet those who know her say her focus has shifted somewhat. In quieter moments, she is reportedly spending more time with her mother-in-law at Fredensborg, offering both support and companionship. It is an extraordinary time for Mary as well, balancing state duties, raising their children, and now becoming a source of emotional strength for her husband and ailing predecessor. At the same time, the royal grandchildren, especially Princess Isabella, who just turned 18, are becoming more involved in royal life. But the concern around Queen Margrethe casts a long shadow. Princess Isabella, who made a striking public impression at her birthday celebrations, has been described as deeply affected by her grandmother's condition. During a recent youth event, she wore a discreet brooch known to belong to Queen Margrethe, a touching sign of solidarity and love. Subtle moments like these are capturing the hearts of Danes, who see in the younger generation a bridge to both the future and the fading light of the past. But while emotional support flows from inside the royal family, the public is hungry for information. The lack of visuals, no official portraits, no video messages, no candid moments, has created a vacuum. In a digital age where information is constant and rapid, this quiet absence has only increased the anxiety. Even royal biographers, typically discreet and measured, have begun to question whether this opacity is helpful. One royal commentator noted, "The Danish monarchy has always enjoyed a close bond with its people. The Queen's silence now risks unsettling that trust. And yet, there may be reasons behind this silence that go beyond royal protocol. Some believe Queen Margrethe herself has chosen to withdraw completely, not out of fear, but out of love for her country. Known for her deep sense of duty and personal modesty, Margrethe may be choosing privacy over publicity as a final act of humility. If her health has indeed worsened, perhaps she prefers to be remembered in her strength, not in her suffering. Such a choice, though emotionally painful for the public, would be consistent with the character she exhibited throughout her reign. Meanwhile, constitutional experts are quietly preparing for various scenarios. If Queen Margrethe were to become unable to make personal or legal decisions, certain legal protocols might need to be activated, particularly those concerning her status as a former head of state with ongoing influence. There are also questions about the transfer of ceremonial titles, honors, and patronages still officially held by her. While these are largely symbolic matters, in a nation as devoted to tradition as Denmark, they carry significant weight. Moreover, international reactions have begun to stir. Queen Margrethe was not just a monarch to Denmark, she was a respected figure across Europe. Messages of support have been sent quietly from other royal households. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands reportedly sent a private letter, while King Charles III, who has his own health challenges, was said to have inquired personally through diplomatic channels. The European royal circle, though famously discreet, is reportedly on edge as it watches this situation unfold. In Denmark, the media remains respectful, but the tone is shifting. Where once headlines celebrated her abdication as a graceful end to a storied reign, now they ask quietly urgent questions. Where is the Queen? Is Margrethe's silence a farewell? What's next for the House of Glucksburg? These are no longer tabloid speculations, they're front-page conversations. Even schools and universities are holding discussions and seminars on the Queen's legacy and the possible consequences of her prolonged absence. And within all this, the Danish people, those who grew up watching Queen Margrethe wave from palace balconies, deliver moving New Year's speeches, and paint alongside schoolchildren, are left with a quiet ache. They light candles outside palaces, they leave cards at the gates, and they speak her name in hushed, reverent tones. It is not just nostalgia. It is love. It is collective mourning for someone who, though not officially gone, feels painfully absent. The truth, for now, is veiled in layers of privacy, tradition, and discretion. The Danish Royal House may eventually provide clarity, but until that moment arrives, Denmark remains in a suspended state of emotional watchfulness. The Queen's silence is not just a personal retreat, it is a national moment of reflection. And so, the people wait. With dignity, with loyalty, with a heart full of memories and a hope that their beloved Queen Margrethe, in whatever way possible, knows just how deeply she is missed, cherished, and still profoundly present in the soul of the nation she served so nobly. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment with your thoughts on this delicate chapter in Danish royal history. Your voice matters, and together, we continue to follow the heart of the monarchy as it beats quietly in the shadows of Fredensborg.